people, no be smart, they say Benjamin Netanyahu is very, very strong and very much alive. Finally, don't come outside for global interview and talk many things concerning this war. Many people, when they say he don't die, I beg, make una watch him. The man is strong. He saying he will give Iran Islamic regime woto. You know why this war? Where be like say Israel never do what they do for Gaza for Iran. Because a lot of citizens of Iran support what Israel they do. So most of them are waiting say if Israel one level city of Tehran and other city where they for Iran, they go do them. But because they want change the regime, nobody say that they go to war with food the whole Iran. Now waiting I go understand for this. Go ask for Lebanon, waiting they go on for that side. If it care don't take, many cities will go down. Israel mean business. Enough of this Islamization and all those nonsense things they are bringing up to this world. Why can't we live our normal life? There's video supposed to play here. Just little children shouting that they're going to buy all the whole Israel. My people, watch the video.
So finally, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has granted a global press conference addressing all the questions about this war, including the rumors of his death. Now listen to some of the things he said. In fact, according to Benjamin Netanyahu, when they asked him that people are saying, Americans are saying you dragged America and Trump into this war. Listen to the response he gave them and the response he gave when they asked him his plan for this war, whether he plans to end it or not. Just listen.
Welcome to the Foreign Press. First of all, I just want to say I'm alive and you're all witnesses. And now that I dispatched this piece of fake news, I want to give you an update on Operation Roaring Lion. Under President Trump's visionary leadership, America and Israel are acting together in Iran with great determination and unprecedented strength. Operation Rising Lion is designed to remove the existential threats posed by the Ayatollah regime, the regime that has waged war against America and Israel and the people of Iran for 47 years. It chants death to America, death to Israel, and it delivers death to its own people. Our goals are three. One, removing the nuclear threat. Second, removing the ballistic missile threat and removing both of these threats before they're buried deep underground and become immune from aerial attack. And third, this means creating the conditions for the Iranian people to grasp their freedom to control their destiny. Today, the Ayatollah regime is not only attacking America, not only attacking Israel, not only attacking the Iranian people, it is attacking the entire Middle East and beyond. They've attacked civilians and American assets in Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, Oman, and they've even attacked through their proxies Cyprus and Europe. We've warned for decades that their ballistic missile program would be used to attack these targets far and wide, and if they're not stopped, that's just the beginning. The death cult in Iran is trying to blackmail the world by closing a key international maritime route, the Straits of Hormuz. It won't work. Israel is helping in its own way, and intel and other means, the American effort to open the Straits of Hormuz rather. But I want to ask you to imagine how the Ayatollah regime would be able to blackmail the entire world if they had ballistic missiles with nuclear warheads. Just imagine what they would do. Look at what they're doing now and imagine what they would do if they had ballistic missiles, international range ballistic missiles, and nuclear-tipped warheads. Just imagine what a great threat that would be. So today, Israel and the United States are protecting America, Israel, the entire Middle East, but I venture to say the entire world. Despite the fake news that is unfortunately being spread since the start of the war 20 days ago, we are winning and Iran is being decimated. Iran's missile and drone arsenal is being massively degraded and will be destroyed. Hundreds of their launchers have been destroyed, their stockpiles of missiles are being hit hard, and so are the industries that produce them. That's important. In Rising Line, we destroyed missiles and we destroyed a lot of the nuclear infrastructure. But what we're destroying now are the factories that produce the components to make these missiles and to make the nuclear weapons that they're trying to produce. We're wiping out their industrial base in a way that we didn't do before. Iran's air defenses have been rendered useless. Their navy is lying at the bottom of the sea. Today we hit the other part of their navy in the Caspian Sea. Their air force is nearly destroyed. Iran's command and control structure is in utter chaos. And I can tell you that there's still more work to do, and we're going to do it. And I want to close these opening remarks with one other fake news, and that is that Israel somehow dragged the U.S. into a conflict with Iran. Does anyone really think that someone can tell President Trump what to do? Come on. President Trump always makes his decisions on what he thinks is good for America, and may I add, I think what is also good for future generations. In this case, those interests are absolutely clear, and so is the clarity of our achievements. Together in close coordination with President Trump, the close coordination between America and Israel, our militaries, our intelligence services, we're achieving goals in lightning speed. But I want to say another word. It's been said that for 40 years, I've been saying that Iran is a danger to Israel and a danger to the world. That is true. You know who else said that? President Trump. 47 years ago, when the Iranian thugs took over the American embassy, he said how dangerous this regime is. In his first term in office, he didn't need any convincing. He said the Iranian nuclear deal was the worst deal that he'd ever seen, and he walked out of it. Right before his second term, before he was reelected, I went to see him in Mar-a-Lago. The first thing he said to me was, Bibi, we've got to make sure that Iran doesn't have nuclear weapons. He said that to me. I didn't say it to him. He didn't need any convincing there either. Now, why did he say that? Because for more than 4 decades, this regime, as I said in the beginning of my remarks, is chanting death to Israel, death to America. But they say Israel is only the small Satan standing in their way. The great Satan is the United States of America. And these ideological fanatics, these lunatics, define their raison d'etre, their reason for being, is wiping out Western civilization and America that leads it. They have claimed the lives, they've maimed and wounded thousands of Americans in Iraq and Afghanistan. They killed the American Marines in Beirut. They bombed your embassies. They tried to assassinate the American president, Donald Trump, not once, but twice. Now they blackmail for oil. Just imagine what they would do, what they're capable of doing, if these lunatics had nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them to every American city and every European city and everywhere around the globe. This is a danger for the entire world. It's certainly a danger for Israel. It's certainly a danger for America. We see eye to eye on that. President Trump and I, Israel and America. But I think if people are honest, if leaders are honest, they would understand that we're not only fighting our fight, we're fighting their fight. I speak to dozens of world leaders. Dozens. They all know that. And privately, they all say that. They say that privately, but I say it publicly. The world owes a debt of deep indebtedness to President Trump for leading this effort to safeguard our future.
Mr. Prime Minister, Jeremy Diamond, CNN. Nice to see you. You've assassinated Iran's supreme leader and dozens of other senior Iranian officials. The result of that so far has been the appointment of a new supreme leader considered to be even more hardline than his father. The Iranian regime is not showing any signs of collapse as of now. So I wonder, what do you say to those who say that killing those individuals is in fact empowering the hardliners in Iran? And are you confident that your strategy will still lead to regime change? And then secondly, if I may, you've also indicated today that you made a commitment to President Trump not to strike these oil and gas facilities in the future. Should President Trump come to you one day and say, oil prices are too high, it's time to end this war, will you listen to him? And do you need the United States in order to continue this campaign alone?
Was that a single question? Jeremy, you really hogged it, but I'll answer your questions. I'm not sure who's running Iran right now. Mujtaba the replacement Ayatollah has not shown his face. Have you seen him? We haven't. And we can't vouch exactly what is happening there. There is a cloud here that's not clear. What we see is that there's a lot of tensions inside the people who are edging for the top. It's not a uniform position. You see that sometimes with the contradictory orders that are given. You know, they do one thing and then they withdraw it and so on. I think it's important that they know that if they think they're going to target the world, target the President of the United States and so on, they themselves are being targeted. That creates a lot of uncertainty. We've found that can have an effect. The removal of Nasrallah has never been really been replaced, because some people are not replaceable. I think the authority and the hold that Khamenei has had is not going to be translated to anyone, not to Mujtaba if he's there, and not to anyone else. But I think this is part of the effort to crack the regime. It's not going to happen in one day. We're 20 days into this war. Yes, we're seeing cracks. We're seeing cracks, and we're trying to propagate them as fast as we can. Not only in the top command, we're seeing cracks in the field. It's sort of like a hollowed out, rotten piece of wood that's holding on the outside, but there's a lot of rot inside. We're seeing some defections. We're seeing fear and trepidation in the IRGC units that are manning the ballistic missiles. You know why? Because they're afraid to die. They're not all suicidal. In fact, most of them are not. So we're seeing cracks, but we're going to hit them again and again. The minimum thing we want to do is, again, erase the industrial capacity that they had to produce these weapons. They'll have to build it from a start, and that's very hard. It's very hard to do underground, too. So they're not going to be able to just take the pieces and move them below the earth. It's going to be a lot harder for them. But ideally, if it cracks enough, and with some other things that I won't get into, yes, the regime could change. Is it guaranteed? No. And is it up to the Iranian people in the final accounting to make use of the conditions that we're doing in weakening this regime? We'll see. I cannot tell you. They're very brave, by the way. I don't come and criticize them in any way. I think they're very brave. I think they've suffered enormously. And the question is, will we have a meeting ground between the weakening of the regime and the rising of the people in many ways that could develop? We'll see. On the oil and gas questions, I can only tell you this. Look, I don't think any two leaders have been as coordinated as President Trump and I. He's the leader. I'm, his ally. America is the leader. Israel is, as the National Security Memorandum described us, I think a month ago, 6 weeks ago, I think, something like that. They called Israel the model ally. That's how they call it, the model ally. It's not a superpower, but America is seeking around the world, and you hear it from the speeches of President Trump and others in the administration. They say, where are you? We've helped you all these years. Where are you when we're doing something that is as important, at least as important for you as it is important for us? And yet one country is there. And against all the vilifications that are leveled at Israel, Israel is sponging off America and all that. No, it's not. It's not. Israel is a brave country, a resolute country with an incredible army, incredible soldiers, incredible courage. And we're fighting alongside the United States when the chips are down. We're fighting with the United States. We're fighting for a common goal. So I can tell you that that's the most important coordination. But in practice, President Trump and I speak regularly. We discuss things. Our staffs discuss things. Our militaries are in close coordination as never before. But ultimately, President Trump makes his own decisions. And do I respect them? Yes, I do.
The question is whether you would or could continue the war without...
Just one question, Jeremy. Thank you.
Could you without the United States? Without the refueling capabilities, for example?
We're going to close. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister.
You
Thank
exhausted
you,
your
everyone,
questions.
for your questions today. Thank you, everyone.
My people, share this video, drop your own opinion inside comment section. You don't